Andrew drew you in, though, right?
Yeah, I don't know. He hates something about God. I don't know. And then I immediately started warring with Piper for some reason. Well, I guess not for some reason, because I think I'm a dirty communist. Oh my God.
Interesting. Well, I guess it's cool that you guys have these, like, meaningful relationships and you talk about, it's not like you're talking about fucking stupid shit, you know?
Well, my introduction to everybody was through Andrew, and it was like in the context of going into a coliseum. So now that everything's chilled out, and the dust is settled, it's like, oh, we're humans. That's right, I forgot.
Yeah. So Andrew brought a lot of you together, huh?
He brought me in the app. Yeah.
Wow. What a weird character.
I gotta warn you about, there's Sully on here and Piper, and they're really, really smart. Are you sure you want to come on here? It's just like, dude, relax. The heck?
Yeah.
He gave me like the Michael Bay trailer for Sully and Piper.
Wow, that's really cool.
You need to talk to more people if you think those are the only two smart people on this in this.
Yeah, that's true. Also, didn't Andrew come from Jack's community? So by extension, all of us are from Jack's community, but then Andrew split from Jack because of like the accusations and stuff. I remember Sully too used to run around with Joy Wolf. They were both like really smart. I think Agamemnon is the smartest person on this crew. I remember Darth Arianis, he defeated everyone on the app.
Yes.
Yeah, and he recorded it. It's on his YouTube channel. He defeated Sully multiple times. I think he debated you too, MJ, right? What's Arianis' YouTube channel called? Sorry? What's Darth Arianis' YouTube called? I think it's just Darth Arianis. Okay.
Well, I subscribed to his channel, so I saw his posts, and he's just like these like paragraph-long screeds against Sully's intellect. I'm like, wow, this is.
Bobby, do you agree with me that God is comprised of non-mereological parts?
Yeah.
What is a non-mereological part?
Like a proper part?
Okay.
Do you think proper parts are mereological?
Not all parts were. I'm rusty though.
No, slow boy. Do you think proper parts are symmetric or no?
Symmetric? No. Not necessarily.
Then what's the distinction between proper and improper part of the relation slope?
I'm trying to remember. Let me ask ChatGPT real quick. Hold on.
Is he calling you slow boy because you're Eastern Orthodox? That's usually what it's called, the evil. It's slow.
I don't see Darth Arianis' YouTube channels. Did he destroy his own channel?
I haven't seen any updates in a while.
Oh yeah, and have you met Apollo, Sam? I think so. Okay, I'm gonna have to get him on here. Yeah, he's like the king of debating. Is he a Muslim guy?
God. Oh my God. No.
Yeah, he was like an anime debater, but he like destroys everyone. I think in the philosophy community on TikTok and Discord, he's sort of like the king right now.
Yeah, that's because I got off of Discord.
Oh, and proper parts identical.
Yeah, tell him to come here. Tell him to come here and debate me on the Saddam.
No, I was just trolling. Proper parts are numerically identical to the object or whatever. It's like, oh, but yeah. Improper parts are numerically identical.
You blocked my path. I'm sorry.
Or sorry, it's the other way around. Improper parts are numerically identical.
How dare you? I am London, you despicable melanoid slime one! Liar! Who do you think you're bullying? You bumped into me. It was your mistake. You were involved. You want this to come by the video.
I never met you.
A very strange reaction. Not really. I raised his hand and saw that it was webbed. Simon Zaldin. But you became hostile. Zaldins are infuriated by courtesy. They view it as a form of pro-social behavior designed to comfort your feelings. Congratulations, Mr. Archer. You handled that particular incident very well. But this incident, it's important to know how you candidates deal with other other species, and it was a test. Yes, not all tests are so, but they appear to be.
Doesn't matter. He's 5'2". Bobby is too intelligent for me. I can't handle him.
Yeah, Chinadu's low IQ, but I'll dopamine.
Yeah, exactly.
Dopamine farm.
MJ, let's get a 2v2 setup. You and Sully versus me and Aga.
Megatron, me and you were intellectual peers. We should like.
Yeah,
I want to be my debate partner. In the middle of the cross-examination, I'll be like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're too good faith.
I'd be the worst debater ever.
You're too good faith, man. You're a good guy.
Oh my god.
Too down. But that made me forgot everything.
I'm watching it. Oh my god. It's a lot of fucking raccoons.
Oh, you saw the video, yeah.
That's goals right there.
They're so adorable, the little raccoons.
They're so chubby.
Yeah.
Consent or not.
Uh-huh.
Do you
And that in itself is offensive.
Do you
Is he eating
recognize
the hot
that
dogs?
there's massive
Yeah, he's eating the hot dogs.
between Christianity?
Yes, and the God model, I call it out all the time.
Yeah.
Not just the God model, the more the ethics. Do you realize that?
Sure, and I'll call it, and I'll grant to that if there are massive differences. But when there are massive differences, I'll also lay it out so that
Well, look
so
how
that
many he
we can
has.
just
That's
honestly
the
just
thing.
see both sides.
That's fine. That's fine, Nargis.
It does have a big difference, like the whole marriage. Like once
How
that's
do you get
married,
that
then
many
even if there's no
It
consent,
reminds me of
that's
the,
why conceded it. So
you
that
guys
doesn't have
watch
marriage, right? Like you don't have to marry the sex
Oh,
league.
I
So
started watching
there's
it.
according to
Yeah,
tradition.
420 for how many more times I repeat myself?
You have to marry them, Marcus.
24, 33,
One
I
that
just
the
looked
show
it up.
is
It's an easy look up.
Every episode.
You don't have to marry them.
Just go on Google and look it up.
No. Nargis, let me ask you this. In Sunni classical traditional Islamic jurisprudence, do you have to marry the
If the jurisprudence doesn't go with the primary text, then obviously something is off, right?
Oh boy. The consensus is you don't have to marry.
Let me see.
You can just
And the consensus is
But the second one,
You can't do that,
what
Nargis.
makes
they
you
hold
think?
to something called a primary scripture. If they're not following it, then perhaps you can question the consensus.
wants to make that tie, right? Look at how.
Yeah.
I'm saying- I'm saying-
Arguing with a woman, what did you expect? They don't take accountability.
I don't think she's arguing because she's like personally connected. I think it's just that she's thinking from religion through a scholarly perspective, not necessarily.
Maybe on the outside.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, like from an
I feel
outside
like-
perspective.
Hold on,
Because he's inherited.
I think she's
If you take like religious courses through your university, they're gonna be like anarchist. Like I'm not gonna
What does that mean? Okay.
like they're
So you're
gonna
almost in,
think through a scholarly secular lens.
oh, I'm glad she's thinking through a scholarly secular lens. Okay, but anyway,
Looking at it,
she's not even sex. She's not even
don't
sex.
understand the answer.
She's not even secular.
I am not biased like
She's not secular.
because I have no right in the race
She's
and I
not
have
sec-
no ownership of either.
You
religion.
do, though, Nargis. You do. And look, it's not even look. First of all, she's not secular. Thank you, Therese. And secondly,
Andrew, do you
I'm very much secular. Who the hell are you to tell me what I am?
Hold on,
Who the hell are you tell me what I am? In
We'll bring
fact,
it
I was
up.
going to point out the
Come
part
on,
of the
say something.
just hold on. So to say
He wants to tell me what I am. He doesn't listen to Torah. He doesn't say everything.
and you said I inherited a religion. It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, you did.
Okay,
I have
and
to
you're
understand
doing
it.
things too. It's okay. We can both call them out. It's okay. So here's the point. That's almost like you're engaged in a genetic fallacy there, by the way. It's kind of weird. But I'll just say this. It doesn't really matter. You can look at these and what you don't want to be doing
is saying somehow what the overwhelming swath of a particular religion has been affirming, somehow that's not what they believe.
That's all.
Or what they've historically believed. If they historically believed that Muhammad, betrothed a 6-year-old and consummated at 9, you probably should say that's what Islam is held to. You don't want to do this thing where you try to modernize it and go, well, last however long recently, people come up with different explanations. No, let's not do that. Let's just stick with what historical.
Come up with different explanations are secular atheist academics in the field of historical critical method, right? Yeah, it does matter actually.
No, it doesn't.
Unless you're telling me that academia doesn't hold any weight.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm saying that if that has been the historical view for the longest time, then that is the historical view. I'm granting you that.
Historical view. And the reason the historical view matters, the big reason that matters, is because on the hypothesis that Islam is true, God would preserve his message, and the people that follow it would believe the message that he wants them to believe.
Exactly.
Well, so it's a very stupid thing to say that, today we just figured out that she was 19. Give me a freaking break.
It's not in the Quran. The Quran is their primary scripture.
Nargis.
You're saying something in the Hadith that
in the Hadith that
holds no infallibility, right? You're saying that is infallible.
I'm sorry.
Because you haven't studied into the free
There's plenty of Muslims who say that you must have the Hadith to understand the Quran, and
That's why we preface traditional Islam. Yeah, traditional Islam teaches that, right, Nargis?
Right. I agree with you on that.
Okay. And if Islam is true, Nargis, it makes sense that God would preserve the message for people to understand it. And it's very stupid to do this modern thing where it's like,
the modern thing is and how they calculated age and how they could have gone about. Half your stories in all three scriptures have mythological origins.
I don't care about what you're trying to now. Now you're trying to make some other point where you're trying to bring all three. I don't care.
They're all borrowed stories.
Nargis, that's what your claim is, and we can examine your claim, and it's false. That's not what I'm going to get into right now.
My claim is false?
Yeah, all three of them are borrowed from other stories. What are you talking about?
They're all refurbished and repurposed. Even the story of parting the sea.
Is that what you're going to provide?
Yes, I'm going to provide the evidence for you. There's a lot of academic work on it.
I dealt with the parallelism for
your scripture is not exclusively new.
Stupid.
You did not invent the wheel, bro. These stories kept themselves in the Mesopotamian.
What's the evidence? Give me the evidence.
Poseidon.
Poseidon. That's where all three stories come from, right? Christianity borrows from Poseidon.
You don't read. I don't think you know.
No, Nargis, don't tell me.
I'll give you the name of
Nargis. You're trying to. All you're doing is trying to.
John studies on.
Yeah, I got you. What you're trying to do.
Keep getting
what you're trying to do is you're always trying to take
over
this
time in the history of mankind where they are
where's Poseidon at? Where's Christianity take from Poseidon? You're just talking.
Talking. No, I'm not talking. I'm just
show where Christianity takes from Poseidon. Please show me that. Go ahead.
Poseidon is the lord of the sea.
Oh, the law.
He allows for Orion to part the sea and walk on it.
And walk on the law of the sea.
Right?
Yeah.
So these stories existed.
Yeah, that's retarded.
A little retarded.
Yeah.
And you'll have Moses in it.
Embodied down syndrome right there. Yeah, the law of the sea.
Oh my God. He's the God of the sea, bro.
Jesus walked on water, and the water is like the law and the sea from Poseidon.
Poseidon is the God.
Yeah, the God of the Poseidon water of the sea.
He grants his son Orion to walk on water.
Yeah.
You have myths like Mahabharata.
Let me scroll up real quick. I'll be right back.
A lot of them, the God blow through the sea parts, and then the archetype goes through it.
Nargis is onto something here.
Yeah, I'm gonna move you down.
It's not what I'm saying, bro. It's what academia is saying.
Yeah, I don't care. Look, academia says all kinds of things like God doesn't exist, blah 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 blah. So you can go ahead and appeal to academia. I want to hear the reasons. You tried to do this pot shot and say, oh, you don't read because
The myths and legends have existed
because
time immemorial in the history of mankind.
Which scholars are you citing for this then? Because I have not heard
Little, Nikolai Sinai.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's a huge list of mythicists actually.
Yeah, mythicists.
Are they classical historians? Or are they like New Testament scholars? Like, what's their specialization?
They are historians.
There we go.
They are academic historians who work with historical critical
That's fine. I'm not disputing that there are people.
in your back channel if you want to look through it.
I'm not disputing there are people who say that. I just don't think this. It's not like this is a consensus position. It may be something that's like Dennis McDonald has. I think some views of that.
Of course, Dennis
It's going to be sort of considered a fringe position.
They're using very strong
The problem I have is you're not saying that.
Hold on, Andrew. Hold on. A lot of Nards choose that there's not really a causal connection because like first century Judaism was very much averse to a lot of sort of the pagan tropes, so they would not have like taken that very well. I'm not saying that there's not any bleed over.
These stories were always running through like the human psyche, right? From the Mesopotamian, Egyptian, Hindu, Vedic, like these have been great stories, teaching us, giving us morals and stuff like that. So it would only be natural that since trade existed, people traveled. These stories, like through some kind of Chinese whispers, travel from generation to generation, geography to geography. These would just be refurbished, repurposed by the archetype, such that it would hold some moral value for the people of the time, right?
Yeah,
and when they were told, it actually benefited and created a sense of well-being for the collective, right? Because that is exactly what the archetype always intended for his people. To create a society in which there was peace, productivity, and some moral value. That's how the academics see it.
I'm not denying that there was certainly like interconnection between religions and trade, but I don't think that the causal relationship between like first century Christianity and paganism is that strong. I mean, if anything, I think most scholars now would hold to it being more embellished by Judaism, right? Like Jesus does lots of miracles that are reminiscent of what like Elijah and Elisha and Moses do in the Old Testament. I think that connection is there. I don't really think the gospel authors had in mind Jesus replicating like Dionysus or
Much of monotheism is built on pagan principles.
Notice.
You're kind of getting like five things removed now. You're saying,
Can I contribute?
Based off of Zoroastrianism, based on monotheism, like it's like you have to make. It's like, okay, if you're going to say, well, Judaism is from Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism is based off of like
from ancient Egyptian myth.
But that's fine. But that still doesn't mean that they have like that in mind. Like I don't know if most Jews had. I don't know if most Jews would be able to tell you that.
She's not a scholar.
It's like finding the stories interesting, so as to
not saying there's a subset of scholars.
And they're refurbished and repurposed.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know if you're going to find like. I seriously doubt that the gospel.
No, I don't.
Like Matthew.
She's not saying there's a subset of scholars that believe this. She's saying it is the case. She said that these three things.
I'm not saying it is the case. They give it a high probability.
No. We're going to repeat what you
You're
said.
historian.
You said that these three traditions are drawing off previous traditions. The New Testament clearly draws off Poseidon. Let me read to you the Poseidon parallel. Get ready. Get a puke bucket so you can just listen.
It's just what I remember.
No.
I don't know if that.
The most prominent The most prominent parallel. This is Poseidon. Just listen to this. Get a throw up bucket.
Also, Poseidon, wouldn't it be Roman versions? Wouldn't it be Neptune?
Yeah, if I can read Poseidon. So the most prominent parallel. The most prominent parallel is the demonstration of power over the chaotic sea, which was Poseidon's primary domain. Poseidon. In the Odyssey, Poseidon stirs up massive storms with his trident to impede I didn't know how to pronounce Odysseus. I can never pronounce that word. Conversely, he has the power to instantly calm the waters to protect his favored travelers.
Got it.
Hold on. Jesus, in the calming of the storm, Jesus rebukes the wind and the sea, and there was a great calm. To the first century audience familiar with Hellenistic culture, this act signaled a level of authority previously reserved for deities like Poseidon.
It's funny too because I don't actually think I think a better parallel is Honi the circle drawer who's in Josephus. He's like a first century rabbi, and he was that.
Oh, I'm just throwing up.
Yeah.
Honi just said that
I'm just saying that the better.
Why is Andrew so triggered?
No, I'm not even arguing Andrew that this is like a made-up story. I'm just saying like there was a Jewish tradition of the rabbi who like prayed for rain and it happened like instantly or something like that. Like I'm just saying if you're gonna do a parallel, I think that's a more reasonable
Well,
one.
how about that God is the father of the weather in the weather?
Yeah, that's fine. No, I'm not disputing that though. I'm not denying that happened. I'm just saying
it's stupid to say that this is a response or some kind of polemic or whatever.
No, I don't think it's bad. Look, you can even find parallels, Andrew, with like Fatima, like the girl they spring top and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yo, Caleb, why is No.
Point, that's how that story got developed in response to an earlier one, right? So you're both kind of right. Can we just stop being so stupid about can we just be anthropologists for a second and actually do this correctly?
Thank you for that.
All I'm saying is Andrew don't say anything about the history of the case either. It can be the case that there can be parallels and also that it really happened.
Yes, what's up?
They're not mutually exclusive.
What's up?
Who took the jam out of your mouth?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This
No, I'm saying, why are you so?
Are you not?
What are people? No, I just put my headphones back on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because Nargis is up here doing her nonsense. She's trying to say here she's cucking for Islam while saying she's not. Then she's trying to say the three traditions all draw some narrative that are clearly mythological and they're just blah 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, well, give me an example. Check the New Testament with Poseidon. And then I read what is being said between Poseidon, although for some reason Frenchie thinks it's reasonable. And then my mind is blown. Walking on water. The ability to traverse the surface of the ocean is a specific attribute shared between the two. Really?
Really? Think of it. I mean, if you're gonna say that, it might be off as the ocean.
No, how stupid.
It's more similar to parting the Red Sea than it is to Poseidon, if anything.
People eat food and have people follow them. The fact that people follow them and they have disciples and eat food.
Ask you to take down the excitement level.
Andrew, calm down, my God.
I'm still not following. Is it all it's saying?
I'm absolutely disgusted by the parallel mania garbage. It's
Andrew,
like XI or IX or whatever that bullfish guy's name on Discord. He provides a thing where, Jesus ate in the upper room with his 12 followers and there's candlelight. Oh, there was upper room and these people were eating and there's people were following him. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a brilliant ripoff of that. Unbelievably
It doesn't mean that they're mutually exclusive. You can have it actually happen historically.
Caleb, if I say that 4 people walked with me and I went and we there was a jousting sword fight. Okay,
yeah.
4 people followed him and these 2 people were on horses and killed each other. Oh, look at them over!
Sure, I'm saying, but I think. Hold on, Andrew. Hold on. Let me just.
I will agree that the Poseidon Jesus comparison is a good try.
The idea is that's what gods do. Gods control water.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
Gods do everything, and gods create stuff out of nothing, and gods do what?
Andrew.
What? I'm.
Can I just
literally, this is what it says: the ability to traverse the surface of the ocean is a specific attribute shared between the two.
Moses is a better analogy. I think that Jesus thought himself as the new Matthew has Jesus be the new Moses all through the gospel. I don't think that's like I think Jesus really thought himself as the new Moses. He went out his way to do the same miracles that Moses did to a bigger scale. And other examples of this in history. Joseph is even cautious that there was a. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying Jesus goes out of his way to intentionally do the same things as his prophets, and just like by putting on the hair and doing some of the same things and saying some of the same things. there's nothing wrong with that. I think Jesus went out of his way to do all the same.
There's nothing wrong with that. The larger point that she's making, okay, which I'm not even saying that there's not some strands or strains or things that have happened historically that are copied, all right, in certain aspects of different traditions in the Old Testament and New. I'm not saying that, okay? What I'm saying is that she then concludes, oh, these are just all mythological. They're just making this up and they're drawing off of these different traditions, which is what she was saying at the beginning. I find that to be really guarded. And this Poseidon stuff.
Narcus says all kinds of fucking nonsense.
Yeah. Well, hold on. It's do better, Bob. Do better.
Maybe I use sort of a critical method.
That's all kind of.
Bob, what is wrong with you?
Homer and Iliad describe Poseidon.
I like Narcus.
Listen to this. No, let's read this. Get ready. Homeric hands. Hold on, let me read this. Homeric hands. And the Iliad described Poseidon's chariot skimming across the waves with the sea monsters gamboling around him as the water remains dry beneath his path. Jesus, the account of Jesus walking on the Sea of Galilee, mirrors this divine stride, quote unquote, in the Greek mindset. The ability to treat the sea as solid ground was a definitive epiphany.
Give me a few barrels.
God's breath. Let me throw up.
I need a 55-gallon drum.
That is absolutely vomitous math. That is disgusting. I'm sorry, that's disgusting.
I'm continuously surprised and likewise entertained at the kind of thing that triggers it.
I can understand why young Andrew would be triggered, because for years we're told that Christianity just stole these ideas from other places. And then you start going and reading them. I went through that myself in a time. And I was like, what the hell are these idiots talking about? They sound nothing alike. And so I can understand why a young Andrew might be wanting to puke because of it.
There are some myth of another god or demigod born of a virgin, though? Isn't that another myth?
Yes.
No.
No, actually not. I think there were some traditions of Moses being born of a virgin.
Not right now, but that was even shown to have been made up afterwards.
Already, just some evidence of that. I just vaguely.
Yeah, a lot of
it doesn't Sarah's mother get supernaturally pregnant by him. Same with Abraham's wife. It's not a virgin birth because they weren't virgin, but they still conceived.
Roman.
I know, but I'm saying I think the Jewish connection is better than the Greek connection, though. I don't think Matthew is ripping off the Jewish motifs.
It's not ripping off. These are just influential stories, and even the Muslims behave just like Andrew. When I bring this up,
when they're writing in Greek,
just retarded.
Greeks could read it.
It's not. It's academia.
No, it's not academia retardation.
You want to hold on.
Some academia is retarded. Some academia is retarded. Some academia is retarded.
Even the date of Jesus' birthday is just stolen from Christmas, with Santa Claus and reindeer.
Thank you for that, Deepak. Thank you.
Now, there are some. Now, I will say that there are some things that I think you can point to that are clear allusions to. I think the best thing you could do is the Matthew birth narrative with Herod killing the babies. That's meant to be a parallel to Moses with the Pharaoh killing the babies.
I don't mind it, but Caleb. That's not the problem, right? Because obviously, from a traditional Christian view, the whole text is supernatural, and there's typology and prefiguring going on that God orchestrated from the history of the creation of everything, right? From the creation of the universe. He already orchestrated that. So that's not going to be an issue. But when you start doing this thing where you're like, well, look at these different parallels from all these different Osiris and he had 12 followers and he was born of a virgin, and you see it's like a rib was planted in somebody's forehead, and this is absolutely garbage.
Also, Osiris was literally, we have to have his mom having sex. He was not born of a virgin.
She actually had sex with her husband's severed penis.
That just sounds good. It's just like if you guys didn't name names, I would have thought that was the gospel.
I don't see a difference.
Yeah, it's
in your
actually
sock
quite
and have sex with
Give
your mother.
me and Andrew a few.
Yeah, I would have
Give us some more puke barrels. We feel
It's true, Andrew, because it's funny how unlike the pagan ones.
I don't even need to tell people the gospel. I can just tell them the story of Osiris, and that can get them born again because they're so common.
And Andrew, it's funny because in the Gospels, it's actually much more subtle, right? Like in these Greek myths, it's usually this really explicit, like overly sexualized thing with like them having sex with the gods, whereas in the Gospels, it's actually very just nuanced. It's just she gets pregnant. Like there's no like vulgar descriptions like you have in like
exactly.
or something. Yeah.
No, but then you read this thing. Did you guys hear this? Oh, and he was baptized. I love how the people that do the parallels, the way they are so vague, and the ones that are more honest, they have to zoom out super coarse grain to make it even somewhat comparable. But like if they get sometimes, usually they'll get too specific, they just make it dishonest. They'll be like, well, he had 12 followers, and he was born of a virgin, and he had a resurrection, and he saved the world, or some stupid I'm sorry. You get together. When you put these things side by side and you just read the comparisons, it is the most retarded. The best they have is maybe Osiris. Maybe. It is absolutely retarded.
This is such a retarded argument that I developed what I call the Isaiah 53 words mean words problem for atheists. Because basically the approach they take to the approach they take to these other myths, they should be willing to acknowledge that Jesus ripped off Isaiah 53. But they're not willing to say that. They're willing to say Isaiah 53 about the suffering servant, the nation of Israel, even though it's a dying and rising Savior and all this and that. So I point out to the low-hanging fruit atheists who will make these arguments about the myths and say, well, why don't you hold the same standard to Isaiah 53? And they'll be like, because it's clearly not about Jesus. And I say, wait a second, it's a dying and rising Savior, it's suffering, all of this and that. Why is it? And the only reason why is they're inconsistent. But this argument that you're talking about, well, I think it's a dead argument, but this argument that you're talking about here gave me the Isaiah 53 words mean words problem, because they'll want to say this about these other myths, but they don't want to say it about Isaiah.
Matt, do you agree though that Isaiah 53 says, hold on, but Matt, does the figure in Isaiah 53 have children?
No.
Does it mention that he has offspring that will live on after him?
Yes.
Right. And you agree?
Which means it would have to be, and it says his death with the rich man in his death and stuff like this. So it would obviously, we can reasonably infer here, oh, here you have a dying and rising Savior. But they don't want to say this. And no, this is about
axioms. Ancient axioms. I don't disagree with Yoni. I think that men use conversation to peacock. I think it's really important. Just for men. I know. I've heard your theory. Women. What's the theory? This is new. This is off the charts, my dude. What are you talking about? What's the theory? Men use their vocal skills to select a mate, and that's all they're doing. They tell stories to select mates, right? Peacocking, yeah. I think that men offer their intellectual wares, and women cruise by and decide whose brain is well attached and whose brain is sort of half disconnected and malformed. I think Yoni is on to something. Jesus, right? Jesus. The times I really get upset. And the times I really get upset is when these people they go on to like say things like, the live action version of the Little Mermaid was not based on like cartoon version, right? Because like every pixel, like the original one had like pixels and it was animated and like human Islam is not here.
No, you understand the story is in the Bible, so such a great narrative foreshadowing. Any fucking Christopher Nolan script has much better narrative, sophisticated foreshadowing than the fucking Bible.
Whoa. Hey, there's some
Any of them. Back to the Future had better foreshadowing. Fucking Fight Club had better foreshadowing. Memento had better foreshadowing. All of these movies doing much better.
Monica and I agree on something and I disagree on something. I think Monica thinks that Republicans should win. And I think that the Democrats need to fix themselves so that the Republicans can lose.
Sorry, that was loud.
There's a bit of overlap in that.
Here comes the once famous house Star Crowley. What's up, Alex Star Crowley?
Good morning.
What's that? Well, hasn't been that long.
No.
What's the main thing here?
Well, you know, Trump derangement syndrome is real. And it actually, if you like philosophy, those are the things you're concerned about. And so how do you apply the teachings of various philosophies to your Trump derangement syndrome? It makes you realize just how you're hyperpolarized and hyperpolitical. That's really all TDS is.
I lost that. It was my Bluetooth was connecting over. What did I miss, Alistair Crowley?
Benjamin is playing his acoustical guitar as I discuss philosophy and its application to the sufferers of Trump derangement syndrome. And, you know,
when I made the title, I half thought of you. I was like, I know for a fact John is going to come in.
For example, even the teachings of Jesus Christ, if you look at it through the lens of go within, it says that the secret source is within you, and so take it out to save yourself. And that type of philosophy is the same thing for Donald Trump. We all have a spark of divinity within us. And so people that live their lives hating Trump, in my opinion, they're mostly all atheists because they don't see the spark within themselves, and therefore they don't know that Donald Trump's got a spark. And so it's kind of pathetic in a way. At this age in your life, if you live with hate for the orange one, well, you just don't get this. You don't understand the game. It's a game, and your TDS. I don't know if you would call it the art of selfishness. Maybe you could call it that.
I'm just going with the book you're holding in your PCR and the Ayn Rand stuff. And Trump is the same thing. Like, it's good to be greedy, Gordon Gekko. You know he wants to be Gordon Gekko.
I know, but see, the book by Ayn Rand, The Art of Selfishness, is a clickbait title. That's the type of room title people put together. They say selfishness is a virtue, but the whole book deals with the complication of ethics and how vast it is and how complicated it gets. So it's a good book. I'm trying to read it today. I want to try to read the whole thing within a week or two. You know, you have terrible TDS, and your rooms are TDS incubators. If you were a venture capitalist, you'd be a TDS millionaire at this point.
Well, that's not entirely fair.
Well, I probably wouldn't be a TDS millionaire. But if I were a venture capitalist, I probably already would be. So there's that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, don't quit your...
I'm not insane, Monica. Monica's claiming she's not insane. Why is she having to do that?
Benjamin, I have a question for you. Do you know what the Constitution of Muhammad is?
It's called a required reading for Benjamin.
It's also known as the Charter of Medina.
That's the required reading.
Written in 622.
Required reading for all K through 2.
I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you read the Charter of Medina, you will realize that Muhammad is a fraud and that his entire religion is a scam. and the Charter of Medina or the Constitution of Muhammad.
G has been coming in and.
You know what else is a scam? Political campaign. That's what else is a scam.
That's good, Kevin. That was well
Thank
timed. Well, we should invite T up. We haven't heard from him for.
TDS. You know what the real problem is? It's TDDS, Trump derangement syndrome. Anytime someone Trump, they call it Trump derangement syndrome. That's the real problem. I think all of us, myself included, deserve a big old apology for the allegedly hysterical liberals in 2016 because they were right about fucking everything.
Well, Kevin, what about TDS? I mean, I just reframed your frame and we added a D.
Check out Fred's PTR. F equals M. EV over DT. Oh, I get
Alistair, you have 37 cell phones that are running a failing political career.
DT. Multiplied by.
How is it a failing political career?
Capital F, funny little arrow.
See, some of us have goals and objectives, and we actually help the politicians we like.
Funny little B arrow, bar, line thing with a lowercase d, T thing. Does the arrow indicate that the V and the F are vectored? It does not. It's a one-way street. It's just a one-way street, Benjamin. No, I think you're pulling you're jerking my chain. No. The equal is actually showing you that it's a parallel line set up. No, it looks like a runway, yeah. The slopes won't intersect. So the F won't intersect with the V because they're parallel lines, and so their slopes are the same as what that's trying to show you. And the see, Fred told me I got 100. And the M is like for the Milky Way. If you want to use it to I just don't know what the arrows are doing in that thing. I think that means the vector.
I mean, this is a one-way street only. See, they're going in the same direction.
I told you. You didn't want to listen, Fred. I get that they're going in the same direction. That just means that it just means Fred makes the force in a particular area is equal to the mass volume multiplied by the change in velocity in that same.
You guys are so atheist; it's unbelievable. This is a hermetic formula here. This is mysticism. Force equals mysticism, and then you get above and below, below and above. Hello.
This is an old form. This is just velocity. Is this change in velocity over time, right?
Velocity equals distance over time, but this is an alchemical equation for mysticism to give you the force and the power of God.
No, this is change in velocity over time.
What is this? I'm a little lost about what this is.
It's just Fred's PTR.
What does it mean?
It says may the force be with you, right? That's ultimately how it parses out. And instead of force, he's got the mathematical formula for force.
Oh, that's
what. So I think that's takes some time to absorb it.
So the fact that Christianity
Flora is here. I haven't heard Flora's voice in a long time.
The war of religion.
Often voted is one of the most easy listening voices on Clubhouse. So you should do a head-to-head compared Pro's voice, Flora's voice, and have a vote. We should put the vote at the top of the room.
Meanwhile, myself and Alistair here can have the most unpleasant voice conversation.
I think that's decided. That's decided already. Yeah. Look, I'm busy trying to look like I'm doing something here at my university. Don't blow my cover.
So, with regards to Trump derangement syndrome and the sufferers thereof who have lived every day of their life for multiple years thinking and talking about Donald Trump, when I think about all the Democrat, Marxist, liberal, atheist safe spaces here on this app and the countless millions of conversations that have happened regarding Donald Trump, all that wasted time and effort could have been spent reading a book and improving one's life. Instead, people force projected, just like this equation for May Day, they force their own projection.
Alistair, and then I think that you're a fine candidate for what is it again? He's running for selectman, counselor, Congress.
Oh yeah, there's that little thing called Congress.
It's unfathomable, Benjamin, how you don't know that equation. But I'm just gonna leave it there. But as much science stuff as you talk. But that being said, what's up, T? What's up, Hero? What's up, Aisha? I do love when John's in the room. I think it would be great to have a little soliloquy from him because he was just feeling the need to talk over here and he wasn't getting his attention.
Somebody was talking.
No, I had the meaning right. I just was trying to work out, like, how did the D's get in there? It's all about the D. You know what I'm saying? Just not sure what the D's.
That's what she said.
The D's are doing.
That's what she said, Benji. You've never seen an equation that said like D over DT, like
oh
ever?
Man, the dV over DT is so common and old. It goes back forever. I'm just doing a little bit of remedial here.
That's cool, bro.
I'd rather have that. Where did the D come in? You don't know? You're not telling me? You're old.
The bug red dye is like not a concern to me.
What about the pepper but vanilla?
Well, they stopped doing that a long time ago. Yeah. That girl did that a long time.
Real vanilla is very expensive, but it's so good.
I would eat vanilla though.
Yeah, I think the red dye they get, like, when they grind what would be, like, the equivalent of the bug's anal gland, it, like, releases this red sort of blood, but it's, like, another, like, bile, and that's what the red.
I don't think it's the anal gland, it's just the whole bug.
Yeah, I think they dry it out.
I'm just kidding.
The justification 75 plus years ago in order, you don't have to think anything about how Jews deserve to live there in the Yishuv or in 1948 or whatever in order to think that, you know, the status quo is okay as is in a certain sense. Like, maybe historically the Europeans had no right to the Americas and the Native Americans should have had everything. But enough time has passed that I think that right has essentially been voided.
You're
and I think
you called my wife.
You might know the time distance
Derivative? Did you say the word derivative at some point? Or no? I don't think
there's still people alive today.
I never got there. I did hear Delta, so we should let Delta qualify.
But I don't think anything stands as convincing.
Way around the bar. I would have expected Delta.
All claims
I would have taken this. Delta. Yeah.
I have Trump on the phone. He wants to mock you all.
Can I ask you a question here that may result in another image philosophy, Marcus? What is the difference between irredentism and redentism?
Good question. I mean, I associate revanchism as like avenging a loss or something, whereas irredentism is just like this particular territory is ours. But that may just, I don't know if I read the actual dictionary definitions. This is just like the general connotations I've absorbed culturally through osmosis.
Because it seems like the only way, they could be like subtle distinctions or like just like different tones or something, inflections, conversational inflections or something where it's like the best place to use them. But like technically you'd have to have like lost the land for you. You don't need to want to claim it back in both scenarios.
So, you want to hear the Google definition of the two, or okay? Irredentism claims land based on shared ethnicity or motherland ties, whereas revanchism focuses on taking back lost territory as revenge for military defeat, regardless of ethnic composition.
Okay, so there's like some overlap, but then there's like some clear distinct cases.
So irredentism is like when Russia tries to take Ukraine because of the idea that it's their ethnic land, whereas I guess Israel taking like Sinai would be like revanchism because it's like during a war. Hold on.
No.
Taking back lost territory militarily conquered.
Yeah.
Taking back lost territory as revenge for military defeat.
It'd be like Alsace-Lorraine.
The paradigm case is Hitler. Post-Treaty of Versailles, the land that was taken back. The land that was taken from Germany, they reconquered. And that was seen as like this relentless, whatever, pursuit. Alright, you live to fight another day, Mark.
But he still never is going to live down the Gariel versus Cayman blunder, the famous blunder.
I mean, your claim about which one is the Gariel, like, that has yet to be confirmed. I could still dread.
How about Mark not knowing that there were salt Dornish?
I didn't know that, and you mixed up the House Blackwood and House Bracken.
Yeah, that never happened.
That's fine.
And you claim that they had house words.
That never happened. Dyslexic people don't make mistakes.
I feel like it's worse for you, Meredith, because that is your thing. Like Mark has proven to be a jack of all trades, so we can kind of forgive him one or two missteps. But like you, like you're the guy. Like
Somebody move Timothy down, please.
So, Timothy, what conclusion did you reach with Mark there?
Oh no, to be honest, I want it because I felt like at some point Sam had read the Google definitions, and then I wasn't it wasn't clear to me, what the distinction was, so I just thought about people sometimes it's easier to ask someone rather than Google it.
Beef, what's the title about? Man or bear?
Alright, so if you were a woman and you were going to be teleported to the woods, and it's either a man on the other side or a bear, which do you choose?
What woman on stage are you asking?
How many women have chosen a bear?
There's a fair number of women choose bear.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would man. I think it's great, but I think there's a trick there or something, right?
There's not really a trick. The only trick that I would say is that if the bear was a panda bear, you probably should choose panda. But I think you should in general. If you don't know what kind of bear, you should go with man.
I thought everyone would have chosen that.
Well, I think a lot of feminist women want to signal so strongly that they hate men and think that they're vile, that they will say stupid stuff like bears are safer than men. Even though very clearly it's very dangerous. A bear is a very dangerous animal. It's literally a predator, will literally eat you.
This is why I was a little bit hesitant to give that. I thought, there might be some trick there that I'm getting, right? Because for me, it just feels obvious in a way. Can it be argued that for a bear? Can someone make that argument?
I mean,
maybe you can say the bear isn't a moral agent, whereas the man is, and so even if a bear attacks me, he's not immoral, but if a man does, it is, right? And so
you're worried about dooming the soul of the man that attacks you.
I don't mind being killed. I want to do it. I want to be killed not by a moral agent, but
Is that true? Would you rather be killed by a neutral force than a moral agent?
I don't think, thinking around right now, why would I care whether if it's a neutral force or not? I just care about my life in a way, right?
Yeah.
I think the level of pain involved, you might care about that.
Yeah. Bears will just start eating you while you're alive. They're not certain animals will just bite your neck. Bears are not like that.
Severin. It says in the Bible that it's a great sin to have sex with a man, but it never says it's a great sin to have sex with a bear. So, if you're being on the safe side, it's like you should have sex with the bear rather than have sex with a man. If you're a man.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. That's you could do it. You could make a point there, right? Maybe.
I feel like I'm right that the Bible never explicitly says no bestiality. Like I think it just assumes that no one would want to do that. But maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think I'm not sure if there isn't in the Old Testament some law that talks about bestiality, or in the New Testament mentions that. I think that there are church fathers who mention bestiality, whether it's a sin or not. I think they did consider it to be a sin. But I don't know if it's explicit in the texts of the Bible, though. Not sure.
They might have grouped it under a general sort of sodomy is wrong notion, which.
I mean, there is in Leviticus 19 when God talks about all the evils the Canaanites committed, including having sex with donkeys, right? And actually, that was one of the reasons why God commanded to also kill the livestock alongside, the other people, the civilians, when He commanded to kill the Canaanites. Remember that there is mention also of the livestock, and it's implied that the reason is because they had sex with those livestock. Some people had sex with them. And so I think there might be an implication there of bestiality being a sin or something, or an evil in the eyes of God.
All right, Exodus 22:19 says, "Whoever lies with an animal shall be put to death."
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Are you more of an ass guy or a titty guy? I think that whereas breasts nourish life, and they're fundamentally symbolizing bringing life anew to the young, asses represent shit and filth and waste. So because of my fundamentally orientation towards civilization, I'm a tit guy. Really? So you came when you were born out of cycle of generation and regeneration called birth. You came out of your mama's titties, or and more. Well, I didn't come out of her ass. I mean, you didn't. Her ass.
That was a very, very good point, World. You really got him there.
But you pretty much came out of her ass. Okay, maybe a couple inches from her ass. Never mind. But I like your argument. I'm gonna steal. My breast fetish is purely civilization sustaining. It's nothing to do with aesthetics. So it is. Yeah, I'm saying, what about the hips? What about the lips? I like lips. I don't know. It's a good face, honestly, over titties too.
Sam, do you think that there are any good arguments for the existence of God?
Yeah, just consciousness. That's pretty much it.
That's about it, right? Or something.
Yeah. Maybe some sort of idea that a first cause type thing. I don't know. That there had to be a necessary being or something. I'm not saying they succeed, but they're at least you gotta consider them as worth considering.
There is a necessary being, and it's everything.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. I mean, what about you don't think these theological arguments are any good, right, Sam?
No, I think the design, theology for life is bad. I think all of them are bad. I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole family, right? Yeah.
My least favorite argument for God is the een. Hate the een.
Yo, what happened to that? Does that kid still come around who used to run that argument?
I haven't seen him.
He had the bucket hat or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen him.
What about the argument for miracles? Like Ethan runs like these. You would say it,
For sure, if miracles were real, that would be a great argument. I guess the question is just how credible are these things?
Right.
Oh, wait, has he gone on that podcast, Jay?
What podcast? Let me see.
The one you told me about. The one he needs a suit for.
Oh yeah, I think it's so like next week he's gonna hop on there, yeah. On Pints for the Aquinas, right? That was the whole like fundraiser thing to get him a suit.
Did you hear about it? He raised the guy, the Capturing Christianity guy. He started a GoFundMe for Ethan to get like a suit, and the amount they needed to raise was like 1,000 or something, and it doubled it. They raised double the amount they required in like half the time or something.
Based.
And like
I've seen the comments on Ethan's Capturing Christianity videos. I'm like, oh my god, Ethan's a star. I'm so I can't wait to see more of this.
But he's like apparently, which I believe. Sorry, I'm not saying like allegedly. Like apparently he's converted like loads of people from just watching that debate. And it's interesting because that debate is, what seems kind of I guess if he's arguing that it's a demon, then he is just trying to falsify it. But as in, he isn't arguing that it's like there's a natural explanation. Or something.
Yeah, they did not argue
I wish he debates like an atheist on these issues. Right? They get him like an atheist debate or something.
I wonder how much money he's got, Cameron.
Well, probably not, because Cameron's raising the money for him. So clearly, like Cameron doesn't want.
Well, yeah, but I mean, obviously Cameron is a huge grifter, and like all of his content is geared towards his grifting enterprise. So
I don't know him well enough. Like, why is he a grifter? Like, what kind of?
He's always been a grifter. I'd have to like.
What?
I said he's just always been a grifter. That's just like his MO.
I'm saying like, is the grift like raise money for like? I don't know. What do you think the grift is?
Well, it's like for his quote unquote ministry or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's like the same way all these guys kind of grift. Like, I think like a lot of people made this case and observation at the time that like he turned the channel into Capturing Catholicism and like converted to Catholicism because like there was more money in being a Catholic.
He's got two channels, by the way. So he's still got Capturing Christianity, and now he's got Capturing Catholicism.
No. Capturing Christianity is that channel. It's just been renamed Capturing Catholicism.
I don't want to do the like. Do you want to bet? But he does have two channels.
He might have two channels, but if you look at that, if you look at the channel, wait, I don't know about this because if you look at the channel that's currently called Capturing Catholicism, and you go into like the about list there, it still says Capturing Christianity.
The Capturing Christianity channel has like 20 times the subscribers, so I'm guessing that's the original one.
Yeah, 415,000 subs, Capturing Christianity, and then the new one, Capturing Catholicism, has like less than 100,000.
Well, maybe they're linked together or something then, because I think that if you go to the Capturing, I just assumed he renamed it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. YouTube's doing that now, where you can post a video that basically is linked to two channels.
No, that is different though. What I'm saying is, if you go to the one that's called Capturing Catholicism, right, and you go to its like about page or some shit, right? There's a link that just says Capturing Christianity. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, probably, but I think he does because it's far smaller than there's far smaller subscriber count than the OG channel.
Well, that may be. I could be fucking that up, but he is a grifter though. That I'm not fucking up.
He just seems.
I remember like somebody died at one point. There was this like whole like debacle because like somebody who was involved in his ministry. I like had to.
You're in the Matrix.
Oh, sorry. Did you hear what I said? I was saying like there was a time where like one of his like, yeah, it was like one of his main contributors like died, and he basically was like, now that this person's died, we're like taking a huge hit. We really need you guys to like step up to fucking replace the contributions from this guy who died. You know, kind of.
Yeah, that's intense. Also, has Nero spoken?
He has not spoken much this time. Daniel's been a bit of a ghost lately. I don't know what's up with that.
Nero. Nero's ghost.
I swear the last time I looked for the channel that's called Capturing Christianity, like I couldn't even find it. So I'm gonna have to dig into this.
No, I funny enough, when I saw the Ethan video, I think I spoke to someone. I said Capturing Christianity, and they corrected me, and I went and looked off the back of that, and then I found the original channel. I was like, okay, yeah, it is a different channel.
Yeah, you have now Capturing Catholicism and Capturing Christianity, right? Both of them, like these two distinct channels. Yeah, they belong to the same person, right?
Capturing Christianity has 400,000 followers. Capturing Catholicism has 20,000 followers. Sully was completely wrong about this.
That's fine.
Huge embarrassing.
Yeah, I was wrong. Oh no, I was wrong. Ooh, I'm gonna cry about it. You know what I like? We should make a channel called Capturing Money, or like Capturing Your Dollar.
I hope Sully has like this amazing poker face where he's like, yeah, oh, boo-hoo, oh, I was wrong. And then like when he comes off the app, he like smashes up his car or something like this. Infuriating.
Oh my god, I'm in the middle of fixing my car right now, dude. I just had to go pick up 2 rims. Now I'm going to get tires.
Oh, what? Are they 30s?
Dude, I was on here when one of my tires just has had a persistent leak for a while because the rim was fucked up. So that's one of the ones that I think the tires got a flat. While I was on here, I was just like, oh fuck, my tire's going flat, shit.
Yo, is it? No, he's not from Massachusetts. Where the fuck is that guy from? You know, there's that guy who's like a Marine, and he's like running for like governor or senator or something, and he's like some like no nonsense, doesn't take shit, like fuck, and he's like ginger. He has like a beard. You know what I'm talking about? Seen clips of him. He's like running for some office, and he's like a blue collar, like rugged, like calls it how he sees it, kind of guy. But he's like very critical of the Iran war. I can't remember his name. Or I don't know. Wait, I thought it was Massachusetts.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. Anyway, I gotta run for a minute.
You're talking about a movie Timothy or
No, it's some guy who's running for some.
I think you know Dan Crenshaw, something like that, right? Dan,
let me check. Say Dan Crenshaw.
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
Wait, you're talking about the Texan with
no,
the iPad?
I know that guy. No. That guy, he's in office already.
Yeah. Oh, the one.
There's a guy who's campaigning currently, but I just don't know for where.
I'm a no-nonsense ginger. Do you have any questions for me?
Thoughts about the Iran war?
It doesn't seem to be going so well.
Dude, the rebranding is kind of epic, though. I don't know if you see what's happening now, but they've rebranded it to like fucking Project Freedom or something, and they're like, look, we're just like if Iran wants to be the aggressors, all we want to do is ferry ships to safety. Like we just like all we care about is that all of these crew members don't starve to death in the Persian Gulf. Like you got Hexa speaking like this meek and mild, lily-livered fucking. You know.
Well, that's smart. Timothy, come on, you have to give it. That's a little bit smart. The rebrand.
Well, it's just too obvious. Like it's just too. It's like if the accusation is like, oh, don't aggress against us while we're just like pursuing this humanitarian mission. And it's like, yo, dude, didn't you just like fucking say you were gonna threaten to destroy our entire civilization like 2 weeks, literally like 2 weeks ago? Like,
you think Timothy, they're gonna continue fighting?
That was 2 We used to go.
And there is some evidence for one of them, right? It's not sufficient to say that he's the murderer. Like, let's say he was in the general vicinity. That's the only bit that says that he did it. That still counts as evidence, even if it's not sufficient to say that he's the murderer. Do you understand? It doesn't have to be convincing to still be counted as evidence.
Yeah, and the challenge is Jesus is a fictional character. So if I see a fictional character out here in the sky, I need to be questioning myself in terms of what am I actually seeing.
The point is that you're begging the question because if he appeared in the sky, then you have to say, well, maybe he's not a fictional character, right?
You already said
And a new sort of coordinator look. Making time just another poor tenant.
But you
bearing
haven't.
weight, taking fire, trading smoke.
Yeah, but you haven't
There's
ruled
war
out
between
that
us
this
and our
exists, right?
enemies.
You literally said there was no way to disprove that. That
The
you are
statement
open.
about God, it wasn't a statement about Jesus. I know for
she's like.
So you ruled out the Christian.
Yes, I think it is definitely possible to prove that the Christian God does not exist. That Jesus Christ never existed.
You don't think that Jesus of Nazareth, like as a historical figure, regardless whether he was God or not, existed?
Absolutely not. Jesus as a so-called historical character, to my mind, is not a historical character. I think the whole
Is it like consensus of historians who think that
and my insight is keen as the hawk's. By my head I invoke. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke thee. About me shine the diamonds of radiance white and pure. By their brightness I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle reverse, the sign given unknown sacred deed of thee, O Lord. By the Lamb and I invoke thee. Mine is the garment of white, sown with gold, the flashing of my light I wear. By my robe I invoke thee. Mine is the sign of the goodness and time. By the sign I invoke thee. Mine is the turban of white and gold, and mine the blue vigor of the intimate air. By my crown I invoke thee. My fingers travel on the beats of the world, so run I after thee in thy power and glory. By my fingers I invoke thee. I bear the wand of double power and the voice of the Master. To the flaming sword, proud child and conquering one. the song I invoke. My hand is thy sword of revenge. Let it strike at thy bidding. By the sword I invoke. Mine is the head of the man, and my inside is keen as the hawk's. By my bed I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke thee. About me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure. By their brightness I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle, reverse the sign given of none. Save it thee, O Lord. By the Lamed I invoke thee. Mine is the garment of white, sewn with gold, the flashing of day that I wear. My robe I invoke thee. Mine is the sign of a prophets and Typhoon. By the sign I invoke thee. Mine is the turban of white and gold, and mine the blue figure of the intermediate. By my crown I invoke thee. My fingers tremble on the keys of earth, so run I after thee in thy car of glory. By my fingers I invoke thee. I bear the wand of double power in the voice of the master. By the word I invoke thee. I know the dark waves of music in the song that I sing, oh, to implore thee. Strike the master chord, draw the flaming sword, shout and conquering Lord, Horus Avenger. In my hand is thy sword of revenge, and strike thy cheek. By the sword I invoke thee. Voice of the five, the voice of the six, 11 are the voices. Abrahadabra.
Amen.
Mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the hawks by my head I invoked it. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke thee. Upon me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure. By the brightness I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle reverse, the sign given of none. Save it be of thee, O Lord. By the Lamb and I invoke thee. Free mine is the garment of white, sewn with gold. The flashing of eye that I wear by my robe, I invoke thee. Mine is the sign of a prophet and typhon. By the sign I invoke thee. For mine is the turban of white and gold, and mine the blue figure of the intimate. By my crown I invoke thee. My fingers travel on the beads of pearl, so run I after thee in thy car of glory. By my fingers I invoke thee. I hear the ones of double power in the voice of the master. Abrahadabra, by the word I invoke thee. Be mine the dark blue waves of music in the song that I made.
What is Scott Besson's net worth and how did he generate his income? What is it with Musk and how did he generate it? Is Scott Besson attacking Elon Musk and what will they find it at? If you don't listen to Fox News during George and say this is the biggest revolution since the fires, what do you mean? How much did Belarus save U.S. president? Top 10 leftist work projects and programs cut? Mine is the head of the man and my insight is keen as the hawks. By my head I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke thee. Around me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure. By the brightness I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle reverse, the sign given
OPP, oh Lord. By the Lamb and I invoke thee. Mine is the garment of white stone with gold, and the flashing of light that I wear. By my robe of mine is the sign of a bonus and typhoon. By the sign I invoke thee. Mine is the garment of white and gold, and mine the blue vigor at the intimate air. By my crown I invoke thee. My fingers travel on the beats of earth, so run I after thee in thy car of glory. By my fingers I invoke thee. For anyone that will cower in the voice of the Master, in the heart of God, by the word I invoke thee. Hey, mine heart, the new waves of music in the sound, and I made a vow to invoke thee. Strike the master chord, draw the flaming sword, draw the conquering Lord, Amen, God, by the sword I invoke thee. In my hand is that sword of revenge, let it strike, as I believe. By the sword I invoke thee. The voice of the fight, the voice of the six, 11 of the voices. Mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the ox. By my head I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear by my body. I invoke thee about me. Shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure by their brightness. I invoke thee. Mine is the red triangle reverse with the sign, giving of none shall it be of thee. Oh Lord, by the layman, I invoke thee. Mine is the garment of white, so mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the ox. By my head, I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear by my body. I invoke thee. About me shine the diamonds of radiance, white and pure. by their brightness. Mine is the head of the remaining in the sign, the invocation concludes. Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament, or of the ether, or of the earth, or under the earth, or dry land, or in the air, or rolling air, or of rushing fire, and every spell and scourge of God, the vast one might be mine is the head of the hawk, I bear the rose and cross of life and remaining in the sign, the invocation concludes. Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament or life and light. Giving the sign, teaching Abrahadabra. Remaining in the sign, the invocation concludes. Therefore I say unto thee, come thou forth and dwell in me, so that every spirit, whether of the firmament or of the ether or of the earth or under the earth, on dry land or in the water or the whirling air or a rushing fire, and every smell and scourge of God, the vast one, might be Abrahadabra.
You came like dawn in my hands, soft but stronger than I knew. My fear turned gold in your eyes, and my whole night broke in two. I was lost in the noise, now I'm learning how to stay close to your quiet light in the middle of the day. Stop thinking, let it fall. Take the deepest breath of them all. Hold it close. Don't run from the feeling. One more second. You can start believing. Wisdom of God. It's God. Wisdom of Your touch is a steady rain on the dust of who I am. Every wound gets named, then it fades in the hush. I don't need 1,000 signs when your name is in my chest. One deep breath, one brave step, and the rest can be blessed. Stop thinking, let it fall. Take the deepest breath of them all. Hold it close. Don't run from the feeling. One more second. You can start believing. Wisdom of God. It's God. Wisdom of Stay near. If I break, pull me through. Teach my hands to release what I cannot hold with you. 10 not 9, 10 not 11. I breathe in your holy calm. The storm in my head. soft but stronger than I knew. My fear turned gold in your eyes, and my old night broke in two. I was lost in the noise, now I'm learning how to stay close to your quiet light. In the middle of the day, stop thinking, let it fall. Take the deepest breath, hold them all. Hold it close, don't run from the feeling. One more second, you can start believing. Wisdom of God, now it's joy. Wisdom of God, now it's love. Wisdom of God, my heart is open. Wisdom of God, I rise above. Hold, hold, let it go, go, go. You are the answer I needed to know. Your touch is a steady rain on the dust of who I was. Every wound gets named, then it fades in the hush. I don't need 1,000 signs when your name is in my chest. One deep breath, one brave step, and the rest can be blessed. Stop thinking, let it fall. Take the deepest breath, of them all. Only close, don't run from the feeling. One more second, you can start believing. Wisdom of God, now it's joy. Wisdom of God, now it's love. Wisdom of God, my heart is open. Wisdom of God, rise above. Let it go, go, go. You are the answer I needed to know. If I tremble, stay near. If I break, pull me through. Teach my hands to release what I cannot hold with you. Tend my night, tend my love. I breathe in your holy calm, and the storm in my head lays down like a palm. Wisdom of God, now it's joy. Wisdom of God, now it's love. Wisdom of God, my heart is open. Wisdom of God, I rise above. Hold, let it go, go, go. You are the answer I needed to know. Wisdom of God, now it's wrong. Wisdom of God, I'm yours. Wisdom of God is now joy, love, heart, enlightenment. You found me in the quiet, with my hands still shaking. I was carrying the hurt like a name I couldn't drop. Then you touched my trouble, and the whole room stopped. Stop thinking and your problems. Take the deepest breath of the day. All for 10, not 11. 10, not 9. Stay. You found me in the quiet, with my hands still shaking. I was carrying the hurt, like a name I couldn't drop. Then you touched my trouble, and the whole room stopped. Stop thinking, and your problems take the deepest breath of the day. Hold for 10, not 11, 10, not 9, stay.
Surrounding yourself with the authorities and from that fire. And if you're having both of them, don't that's all you have to do. Fire. For revenge, then I meant this to continue. Very difficult for us. We found no sign of the intruder, but there is an open shooter left in the future. Use the therapist. It's his fault. He does now. He never fails to let you may suffer alone. But he will not continue. He's trying to This week in the city of Chicago is an opportunity for us to celebrate the contributions of our city workers. These are the workers who ensure the success of our city. And through our annual Worker Appreciation Week, we do want to lift up, again, all of the hardworking women and men of this city that contribute to the soul of Chicago.
This designation provides us the opportunity to give just a little in return to the tens of thousands of city workers who show up each and every single day to keep our streets clean, teach our children, ensure that we get to work, and of course, keep our community safe. Throughout the week, I will be joining city officials and the community to honor and celebrate the determination, dedication, and grit of all of our public servants. Yesterday, I was proud to join Superintendent Snelling and the Chicago Police Department for their annual officer recognition ceremony. We did this and honored our officers who have given their lives in the line of duty and those who went above and beyond in their distinguished service to Chicagoans. I do want to pause for a moment here to continue to not only show our support, but as we mourn the life of Officer John Bartholomew, who made the ultimate sacrifice while ensuring that we renew our prayers for his partner, Officer Nelson Crespo, as he continues to recover. We continue to keep their families, their fellow officers, and the entire Chicago Police Department in our thought as they navigate this immense tragedy. All of the brave women and men who serve as first responders and bravely put their lives on the line for Chicagoans ahead of their own, our firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, and our police officers, we will forever owe a debt of gratitude. It is this dedication to serving our residents that makes our city the world-class center for business, innovation, as well as culture, the city that we all know and love. It is only reinforced by the work of school crossing guards, bus operators, our sanitation workers, our librarians, sewer engineers, and countless more who keep Chicagoans healthy, enriched, and on the move. As mayor, I will continue to do everything in my power to support the city workers and ensure that they have the tools that they need to do what they do best. As we celebrate International Workers' Day last Friday, we also recognize the immense role that every single worker in Chicago plays in keeping our city strong. As nurses, delivery drivers, technicians, restaurant servers, warehouse workers, caregivers, retail workers, most of our reporters, no, I'm teasing, all of our reporters, you work to build the type of neighborhoods that empower our people and drive the future of our city forward. I will always be an ally to workers of all stripes, and my administration remains committed to ensuring that every worker in our city receives the support and opportunity, and most of all, the respect that they all deserve. With that in mind, I'd like to shift gears just a little bit. As you all know and are surely aware of this, later this afternoon, I will be heading down to Springfield to meet with our legislators and advocate on behalf of Chicagoans. I will be joining fellow mayors to advocate for the full restoration of the local government distributive fund within the final budget for the upcoming year. The LGDF is funded through state income taxes and is one of the primary mechanisms through which the state provides funding for local governments to deliver the integral services our residents rely on. This year, the proposed budget includes a cut which amounts to $60 million. This shortfall for local governments across the state, including $12.7 million for the city of Chicago alone, would be impactful. For more than 40 years, the annual LGDF share provided to local governments was set at 10%. Over the last two decades, it has slowly been chipped away at, this year being proposed at just 6.27%. Raising the percentage share by just 1% would result in an $80 million increase in funding for the city of Chicago. Every Chicagoan pays into this funding pool through their income taxes. Our residents who work hard every single day keep our city the economic engine of the entire state of Illinois. All of us deserve to receive the full return on their contributions. At a time in which the cost for local governments has risen along with inflation, the proposed cuts hamper our ability to maintain the full provision of public services that our cities need to function at their very best. In addition to reversing the cuts to LGDF, we will continue to work with our legislative partners to pursue the progressive revenue that we need to break the cycle of budgets, which have again and again been balanced on the backs of working people. We are certainly encouraged by the state's inclusion of a measure which mirrors the social media and amusement responsibility tax that we pioneered right here in Chicago. As we all recognize the need for big tech corporations and social media giants to pay their fair share, I will be renewing my call for this General Assembly to grant Chicago the authority to levy a digital tax and include a statewide digital ad tax in this year's budget. Targeted advertising has enabled these companies to reap billions in profits, so it's only fair that they pitch in to support the well-being of Chicagoans and every Illinoisan. As we prepare for the coming budget cycle, we will advocate for the expansion of Chicago's home rule authority to raise progressive revenue without burdening working families in our city. I'm confident that by coming together around our shared values and vision for a more equitable future for our state and city, that we will be able to achieve many of these aims. I look forward to meaningful conversations with my fellow local leaders, with our legislators, and with the governor's office as we work to collaboratively find common ground, advance solutions, and deliver real results for the people of Chicago and all of Illinois. Thank you all for your patience today, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions at this time.
We have time for 2 questions, 1 follow-up each, and we're going to go down the line and wrap around, please. So.
Wait, how many? 2 questions, which doesn't, not in addition to a follow-up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure I have to talk to my union rep about all these questions y'all asking me. All right.
Mayor, good morning. Thank
you. Good morning.
When you head to Springfield, I realized that you just spoke about a couple of other ideas, the digital ad tax and others, but 12 million is not, I mean, it's certainly you want every million, you don't want to lose any, but it's not a huge amount. I mean, the state, I guess their argument is, hey, we've had to tighten our belt too. So it's going to trickle down to all of you. What other perhaps ideas are out there to raise revenues?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me just name the fact that the local government distributed fund, I mean, this is something that has been intact for decades. When I made my first address to the General Assembly back in 2023, I highlighted this as an important part of how local municipalities show up for working people. And particularly at a time as the federal government continues to undermine our local bodies of government, it's the mayors who are dealt with the heavy responsibility of responding to the needs of people. And look, that's not chump change, right? When you're talking about 1% increase would be $80 million that could go towards driving safe and more affordable communities. So it is important. I've been working to organize local mayors for the last couple of years. In fact, in DC, we convened a meeting with many of the local mayors who represent communities that are rural, suburban, and of course, obviously, me representing the largest city. So it has bipartisan support. This is a big deal, and we cannot afford. If we're asking anyone to tighten the belt, we should look at whose belt is exploding, and that's the ultra rich. As their bellies get fat and our people are starving, this is not the time to balance the budget off the backs of working people. As far as other ideas, look, our position is still the same. I've been advocating for a digital ad tax for some time. This is something that I know the Senate President has expressed interest in. And so there is movement, you all. I just believe that the urgency of this moment really requires us to move outside of rhetoric and actually put some action into place. The last thing that I'll say is I'm encouraged by the fact that the idea that we pioneered in Chicago, the social media amusement responsibility tax, that's something that the state is looking to do. So clearly there's some shared ideas that they're, gaining from the work that we're doing in Chicago. We're hopeful that can be reciprocated. The levies in which the state has control over, the jurisdiction over, they need to pull those levies now because it's a matter of life and death for a lot of our families, not just in Chicago, but throughout Illinois.
Is what to do about Soldier Field also on your agenda?
Well, the best thing to do for Soldier Field is to make sure the Bears are playing there. Look, I still firmly believe that the best place for the Bears to play is in the city of Chicago. They expressed interest. I remember that a couple of years ago. Right now, the type of tax I don't know how they're framing it, but the type of tax structure that they would set up for large corporations and billionaires without, a clear pathway to provide certainty as well as equity for everyday working people. I believe that that's a mismatch there. And quite frankly, look, the infrastructure that they're even discussing in the suburbs, those infrastructure needs have been present on the lakefront for a very long time. It's the top tourist destination anywhere in the state of Illinois, right? So it's to the economic advantage for all of Illinois to support the economic engine of the state of Illinois. And then finally, there are some real concerns about and I know the governor expressed them as well. There's some real concerns that have been laid out around, what's being proposed. And so for me, I'm going to, of course, continue to fight for Chicago, but it's not just the best place for the Bears to play, the lakefront. It's the most economically sound as well as economically stable idea for the Bears to remain in Chicago.
Feliz Bataglia de Puebla, or the Battle of Puebla, otherwise known as Cinco de Mayo, which is actually today. I'm surprised nobody mentioned it today. And in any case, this first bundled question would have applied to the presser that you had with some of the other mayors across the country if I had received the link for it after applying for it. But in any case, for all you sanctuary cities, especially those led by Black mayors, what is your response to Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal's robust demanding of reparations for immigrant communities, whether populated with illegal aliens or potential immigrants, while not talking up the same for descendants of U.S. chattel slaves?
Well, look, I can only speak for my position, and as you know, we are moving with our task force around what reparations for Black Chicagoans could look like. The harm that has been done against Black Chicago is quite severe. That history is pretty substantial. Whether it's the dismantling of our public schools, the dismantling of public housing, the closure of mental health clinics, the lack of opportunities for jobs, right? I mean, there are a whole host of areas where Black Chicagoans have been harmed by neoliberal ideas and austere budgets that, quite frankly, that have been moved primarily by the most conservative presentation in our city, in our country. And so I think it behooves us to ensure that investing in affordable housing, investing in education, investing in good paying jobs, that these are ways in which we can repair that harm. As far as any other group that is seeking reparations, look, I'm never going to stand in the way of that, right? I mean, we know the history in this country, whether it's Japanese Americans, whether it's the Jewish community, that, of course, the harm that was done during the Holocaust. I mean, there are countless examples of groups receiving reparations. My focus right now is repairing the harm that was done against Black Chicagoans.
So to clarify, in your case, this would not end up as another case of foundational Black Americans having to yet again wait their turn behind other groups for repair. So,
look, my priorities have been pretty clear. We have a reparations task force to repair the harm done against Black Chicagoans.
And of a more international interest, how weary are you that a final enacted version of their reauthorized FISA no-knock warrant law could be weaponized against sanctuary city mayors and governors the way it was, the original version was against Black Lives Matter organizers and activists?
Well, look, worry might be too strong of a word, Mark. Quite frankly, do I take all measures seriously as it relates to the type of threat and damage and harm that it can do to the most vulnerable? Of course, but I try my best not to live or to react out of fear. I'm in this position as mayor to speak up for the least of these, the most vulnerable amongst us. It's not a popularity contest for me. It's about delivering high quality services for the people who rely upon them the most. And I think when it comes to ensuring that our criminal justice system is responsive and as well as committed to an equitable distribution of justice, that is something that we all have to work towards.
So to clarify, you'll cross that road when you get to the attack.
As I said, I think worrying is probably wary. To the extent in which it's going to prevent me from being able to continue to move to build safe and affordable communities, it hasn't.
Thank you, Frank.
Mayor, if I can just clarify something that Marianne had asked earlier about the Bears. Do you plan to have conversations with lawmakers about the Bears and whether it's either the bill that is now before the Senate or trying to keep them in Chicago?
I continue to have conversations, with lawmakers that the Bears belong in Chicago and that their interest is in Chicago. Look, I would have preferred to have conversations about a millionaire's tax. To be perfectly frank with you, I'm disappointed that the bulk of the conversation about Springfield right now is about how do we provide benefits for corporations at a time in which affordability is the number one issue that people are concerned about. And I know this is something that the governor has raised about raising the minimum wage and ensuring that, we're creating a pathway to build more affordable homes throughout the state of Illinois. I'm grateful that within the budget that he's put forth the social media tax. I think it's important that the city of Chicago understands what's happening in this moment. And what you have is a situation where you have a bill that's being discussed right now that would provide relief around property for corporations. What's interesting about that is that that's not something that the Bears currently have to think about in Chicago because they don't pay property taxes. So I think, again, as I said to your colleague, there is a mismatch here in terms of what the people of Chicago and Illinois are most concerned about and how government is responding and reacting in this moment. Now, do I believe we can do both? And of course, do multiple things as mayor. We fight for affordable homes. We fight to keep people safe. And we're fighting to keep the Bears in Chicago. We can do it all. But, yes, I'm going to have a conversation about the Bears. But again, the priority is to ensure that the people of Chicago get their fair share in terms of tax distribution. And that's why the local government distributor fund is top of mind for me.
If I can ask you about police overtime, they've gone through about a third of the $200 million that's budgeted for this year, and we have not even hit the summer yet. How are you preparing, and have had conversations with the superintendent for managing that, given that, if they go over $200 million, it's got to get pre-approval?
Yeah. Well, look, when we put forth the executive order, the whole idea was to make sure that we can monitor it at the district level. And the superintendent has done a solid job of doing that. And in fact, I believe that as a whole, and I will have to go back and double check, but overtime is down 3% overall. And we can get those numbers to verify. Look, the goal is to make sure that if overtime is needed, is that we're doing it purposefully. And of course, it's done to ensure that we're maximizing safety. But the ultimate goal, of course, is to make sure that our budget remains intact. And to your question about what we're doing, we're constantly monitoring at the district level because that's where the authority has been granted, is that those district commanders are being judicious as they deliver high quality services for the people of Chicago, but they do it in a way that doesn't blow through our budget.
How you doing, Mayor Johnson?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. The Cubs are on a hot streak right now. I'm feeling pretty good about where we're headed as a sports organization.
To police costs, I wonder if your administration has any information about how much money the city spent on police and security connected to last Friday's May Day event, and if there's going to be an attempt by the city to collect any costs back from CTU.
I'm trying to understand the last part of the question. First part of the question I can answer. Okay. I don't have those numbers. We can get those to you. this was not a CTU event. May Day was International Workers' Day, in which Chicago Public School students participated in it, right? And, as a social studies teacher, keep in mind, young people participating in the liberation for working people, there's a strong historical precedent for that, right? You know what I'm saying? Our young people that were out there by choice. And whatever cost it is, it's a worthwhile investment. We're talking about young people and workers taking action at a time in which we've seen the largest upward transfer of wealth into the hands of the ultra rich. You all do a good job at reporting this, and I mean this. What's at stake in this moment is far more severe than whatever May Day cost us. There's 150,000 Illinoisans right now that we don't know if they're going to have food. Those parents send their children to school. And so we have workers that are being threatened. We have tip workers in this city right now where people believe that they're responsible for the economic downturn. And then you have children going into schools that are not fully resourced. And then you have workers showing up every day trying to make, lemonade out of lemons with no sugar. And I just think it's important that we continue to narrate what's happening in this moment. We're seeing the rise of fascism all over the globe. Right-wing extremism and the anti-worker, anti-immigrant, anti-black. The Supreme Court just gutted the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act. I hope you understand at least the mannerism in which I'm speaking. Is that what type of society do we want for working people? Do we want a society in which we're begging and pleading? Or do we want a society that is plentiful and abundant? That's where I believe the attention should remain, but we're happy to get that information to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I want to go back to something that you said when you were appearing with my friend Craig Wall on the Channel 7 Town Hall last week. You were answering a question about support for mental health services in the city, specifically the smart tax, which you've mentioned a couple of times here. When the 58th mayor comes in another 17 years, they won't be able to undo the work that we've done. Set a formal declaration of intent or a hint about where you're leaning, sir, about next year.
Well, first of all, it was really great to be able to take those questions with a live audience. And I hope that you all at least got a chance to experience what I experienced, right? That often, and I'll just be very honest, the questions, that's not what I'm asked of when I'm in the broader public. And I think the motivation behind those type of open forums is to get a chance to speak directly to the people of Chicago around the questions that are pressing to them versus the questions that are pressing for the press, quite frankly. Right? As far as what my political future holds, I think it's really about the future of politics as a whole, and it's not just about Mayor Brandon Johnson. That, again, voting rights, workers' rights, immigrant rights, they're coming, the interest of the ultra-wealthy on this planet, they are literally coming to consume anything and everything. And my focus is going to remain on ensuring that we're driving violence down, that we're building more affordable homes. And the time for political declarations will come at the appropriate time. But in the meantime, yes, I'm very much determined and committed to build the safest, most affordable city in America. And that whatever happens after my time as mayor, that the work that we do outlives my time as mayor. That's the most important thing.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
What are your sticking points for what it would take to support legislation for a Bears Stadium in Arlington Heights, or are there no concessions that could be made?
It's very cute, Alice. It's very cute. I appreciate the frame of the question. I do, and We're building a brand new soccer stadium with the Chicago Fire. The 1901 project on the west side of Chicago. Psi Quantum on the southeast side of Chicago with a brand new hospital on the south side of Chicago. First time in 60 years. I'm building things in this city. I want to build more things in this city. And why is that important? Because it creates opportunities for Chicagoans. Why would I advocate for something that wouldn't benefit the people of Chicago? I don't know why any Chicago legislator would vote for anything that doesn't benefit the people that they represent and vote for. Right now, I mean, in terms of a sticking point, look, we asked for infrastructure for the entire museum campus. We didn't even get a hearing on it. The Bears were prepared to put 72% of their dollars into a stadium that the public would own. I mean, certainly people can see the benefit of that. I mean, how many people build an office to become a tenant, to pay rent to someone else? That's what the Bears were willing to do. And so I think the way I would frame it personally is, for any Chicago legislator, what is it that we need for the people of Chicago? Let's just start there as a baseline. And what I need for the people of Chicago, our people they have to be able to work. I mean, we're working hard now to get more contractors opportunities where they have been shut out otherwise. I mean, Arlington Heights, anywhere else, a Chicagoan having to commute 2 hours out of their way for a job, that is not something that I don't believe anybody who represents Chicago should want. You know, so, and I think that there are some legitimate concerns around the fact that at a time in which property values are increasing and affordability is becoming that much more of a challenge, to do anything in favor of entities with means without supporting families who have needs, I would find that short-sighted.
Thank you. And do you support Alderman Beal's legislation in licensing committee today that would effectively ban sweepstakes machines in Chicago?
You know, I haven't looked at it, honestly. I haven't.
Many talking points that you've already said you're going to discuss. We went through the Bears already. We went through the funding due to Governor Pritzker's budget. What about CPS? They're facing the deficit second year in a row. New superintendent here. Is that going to be a conversation there?
Yes. You know, it's been an ongoing conversation because it's not just CPS that's experiencing a deficit. And listen, I want to just make sure that I'm on the record again. Hear me good, you all. Every single school district in the state of Illinois, the vast majority of them, will suffer the same type of deficits. $3.2 billion or so, where the state of Illinois still has a ways to go to fully fund our schools. What's fascinating about this discussion is that some legislators are more upset about us calling out the fact that we're underfunded than they are that we're actually underfunded. And this is why I know the Speaker of the House, he supports the millionaire's tax. It's unfortunate that they weren't able to get that done and get that accomplished, but look, there's still time to move on other progressive revenue ideas. I've always advocated to fund our schools properly. I don't know if you're aware of this, but when I was an organizer, I took arrests. I've gone on hunger strikes. I've gone on teacher strikes for funding our schools. As mayor, I released the largest TIF surplus into our schools than any other mayor in the history of Chicago. I'm going to stand 10 toes down for the people of Chicago, in particular around CPS. Of course, we're going to discuss progressive revenue to ensure that our schools are fully funded.
Now, can you kind of outline what that will look like? You're saying we need funding, help us do that. Every other school in Illinois also will feel the same heat. But what does that look like? If you go there, they have these conversations and you have to be prepared to say, this is what I want, this is what will work, that may not work if they offer something.
I mean, look, you will always have negotiations. The way it works is that you have to identify the source of revenue first, which we've done. Now it's a matter of the political will, right? Some of this really is not just on school districts and mayors. These state reps and state senators got elected as well, right? And I know that there are a number of legislators who understand the importance of fully funding our schools, right? I mean, and I think the way it can work is that if we can all come together. I mean, think about how folks are coming together to figure out a stadium. I mean, again, we've spent more time talking about a stadium than other things in Springfield. And look, I know sometimes that's driven by the interest from mass media. But when I talk to legislators, trust me, they're talking about the same concerns that I have, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's housing. These things do require prioritization. The same thing with our public schools. So yes, there will be a great deal of discussion, and hopefully with the mayors coming together around the state to really fight for our government distributed fund. These are the same mayors that represent communities where school districts are also severely underfunded, and we're going to continue to push. Keep in mind, I mean, even some of the things that we have won in Springfield, think about how long it took to get there. This LGDF, and folks have been fighting to raise that for the last 15 years since Governor Quinn. Haven't heard that name in a while, have you? So, these fights have been ongoing, but look, I'm not going anywhere. We're here for it. We're battle tested, and we're going to continue to push to make sure that working people are prioritized. Thank you for that. Hey, Justin.
Good morning. So when you discuss the mega project legislation with state lawmakers, you're opposed to them leaving. I understand that, but you're describing a deal that was put together, 2 years ago and didn't go anywhere. Do you have a new financial model for the lakefront or Michael Reese or anywhere else? Do you have a, I guess, lack of a better plan or new plan?
Another idea. I mean, that's a good question. We have a couple of ideas that we'll present. I mean, I think that would be, inappropriate just because we haven't had those conversations with our legislators. And, trust me, by the time that conversation ends, I'm sure somebody somewhere will slip you a note. Not me. I don't know who you get your information from, but they're pretty good at getting it to you. But the point being, though, is that, it's unfortunate that we never even got a conversation. I was talking to one legislator who, talked about the $900 million that I believe that they're discussing for infrastructure for the suburbs. And, I said the starting point for the infrastructure for the lakefront was about $1.5 billion. It doesn't mean that that's where it would have landed, but I think to your colleague's point, you got to start with a number and then you work through it. And so there are lots of conversations that are also associated with this particular project that really requires us to think hard about how, again, the top tourist destination in the entire state of Illinois is fully supported. That museum campus is one that's driving our economy. But yeah, there are some ideas that are newer out there that we will be discussing.
All right, I've got 2, 3, 4-parter here on this. In kind of just being bears in the city or bust, there are other aspects of that mega project legislation that it seems the state is trying to accommodate Chicago in other ways. There's the new version of Star Bonds that could support One Central. There's this new railroad specific incentive that could support One Central, or the HPM project at the Amtrak site, or Michael Reese, in sort of only being focused on keeping the bears in the city. Are you able to provide input on those other things that are being discussed so it specifically impacts Chicago?
Of course.
And then, sorry, this is the second part. Didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. On Soldier Field, Alderman Superintendent Ramirez Rosa was down in Springfield last week. He has been pushing a plan to renovate Soldier Field and to, improve the broader museum campus. But what I hear from state lawmakers is that's a little confusing because his plan kind of is hinged on the idea that the Bears might leave and trying to re-envision Soldier Field after that. Do you support his efforts in going to Springfield and continuing to push for infrastructure support?
Well, as far as infrastructure, we're all on the same page there. That the campus needs a makeover. Like, we know that the ingress egress is absolutely horrific, and I don't mean to trigger Bears fans or concert goers. It is just brutal getting in and out of that space, as well as it disrupts the type of flow that could naturally carry over to the rest of the campus. I was talking to the great organizers for Lollapalooza, as well as our presidents of the museum. 400,000 people show up along that lakefront over the course of a few days. Just the natural spillover of 15 to 20,000 conservatively of concert goers that would just, move about the entire campus and create more activity over there. We're losing out of that type of, economic prowess there. So the infrastructure is something that we have constantly have fought for, and we will continue to do that. As far as what this deal could do for large-scale projects and how it could benefit Chicago, absolutely we're in, conversations there. But here's the thing about Chicago. We can pat our heads and rub our stomach at the same time. I don't think it has to be an either-or scenario. At a time in which we have the most visitors in our city over the summer ever, the fact that we are at a 60-year low in terms of violent crime, the fact that, again, that we're building large-scale projects, 6, 7 cranes in the air, 19 on the way. We're building affordable homes downtown and reconverting of old office spaces. Our airport is now the busiest airport in the world. This will be the time for Chicago to accelerate, to be able to generate and move our economy forward. We are the global capital of the world. Certainly, we move the Midwest in ways that no other city in the Midwest does. And so the fact that we have all of these assets, why would we at this time disrupt that economic flow when we have the ability to grow our economy, not just with a sports team, but with an entire activated campus that would be available 365 a year? That is the real conversation that I believe. And again, there's 3 things that are happening here. There's a proposal that right now is economically unsound, and there's broad agreement around that. And then there's the fact that the Bears have interests. What I'm simply saying is there's a way in which we can do both for the city of Chicago, where we can create an economically viable plan that is responsible for taxpayers. Right now, we don't have that situation. And again, I'm going to work with the legislature to ensure that Chicago is prioritized.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
Can you give us your reaction to the millionaire's tax dying in the House over the weekend? Have you talked with your Springfield partners about next steps? And, are there viable options for progressive revenue from Springfield at this point, or is home rule the only option?
Well, I will say that there are viable options still, right? I mean, there's still, time to move on. Again, as I said before, the digital ad tax, that's something that this legislature could move on. And there are folks who have expressed interest, just like the Speaker of the House, spoke of his interest around the millionaire's tax. I know that there are many people in the Senate caucus that are moving conversations around the digital ad tax. In terms of home rule, for me, it's if the General Assembly is having a tough time building the support to do it at the state level, what I've always said is that I'm that person that's willing to go first. And clearly there's some good example around the smart tax by Chicago going around the smart tax. It has opened up room in a lane for others to move through. So that's why we are pushing for home rule as well. It's one of those components where we have to try to do anything and everything to create revenue streams that do not rely upon working class people.
And then on the Swedish hospital shooting, it's our understanding, and the Tribune reported that the 2 police officers who initially arrested Alfonso Tally are under internal investigation. Why is that? Are there concerns that the search was inadequate and allowed him to get the gun into the hospital?
I know there's an ongoing investigation there. I mean, I can't, speak to something that's ongoing. Of course, I think what's also very glaring here is the fact that, another officer lost their life in the line of duty, and one is just fighting to recover. I'm going to pray for the Bartholomew family, his wife and his children, his mother, and his loved ones, the entire police department. Of course, we're going to continue to pray for Officer Crespo that he can get back to life, and hopefully and prayerfully that some level of normalcy. But as far as any investigation, obviously, because it's ongoing, I can't speak to it.
Mayor Johnson, in light of your historic calls for defunding the police, in light of your historic hiring people who are known, hiring people for 6-figure jobs with the city of Chicago, who are known for absolutely nothing but demanding, calling for effing the pigs. In light of your historic...
Can we get to the question, please?
I'm going to ask the question that the people of Chicago have asked me to ask.
Please get to the question. Thank you.
In light of your historic calling, incarcerating violent repeat offenders, people who have raped, murdered, robbed Chicago citizens, law-abiding Chicago citizens, racist.
Where is the question?
You want the question? Are you sure?
Please, let's get to the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, let's see about that, okay? Because the mayor doesn't seem to like my questions very much. In light of all of the above, do I need to repeat it?
I haven't heard your question yet, William.
In light of all the above, would you take this opportunity to apologize to the family of Officer Bartholomew for the role that your rhetoric has played, your vile rhetoric, according to the people of Chicago, black and brown people, by the way, who have asked me to ask you to apologize to the family of Officer Bartholomew for the role that your vile rhetoric has played in his...
Thank you for the question.
Listen, I don't agree with not only your premise, but even your characterization of what the people of Chicago are calling for. What we are calling for in this moment is not to...
Check the comments on your own social...
Please, let's let him answer the question.
I want to answer the question, okay? All right. So in light of what has just taken place, I think it's important that, one, we pray for the Bartholomew family, and that, two, that we continue to pray for Officer Crespo, that he fully recovers. That's the focus, and that's where I will remain.
Okay, so you won't apologize to the family of Officer Bartholomew, just as you refused to apologize to the family of Bethany McGee when she was set on fire on the CTA by a repeat violent offender, just as you refused.
Do you have a second question?
Yeah, this is my second question, okay? Jeez. My God, are you kidding me? This is the city of Chicago. Just as you refused to apologize to the family of Sheridan Gorman when I asked you if you would apologize to them, do you intend to the funeral of Officer Bartholomew? And if you do, will you take that opportunity at long last, to apologize to the family of Officer Bartholomew for the role that your vile racist language has played in the murder?
Thank you for the question. The question is if he's attending the funeral.
As I've said before, again, I think it's important in this moment that we not only pray for the Bartholomew family, we have to ensure that we continue to pray for all of our officers, who dedicate their lives, women and men, to serve on the front lines of our city. We're praying for the full recovery of Officer Crespo, and we're grateful for the services that our first responders provide to the people of Chicago.
So you will not apologize?
Let's move on to the next question, please. Next.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
During a court hearing into the consent decree a few weeks ago, the Illinois Attorney General's office called for a full-scale review of how CPD is using force against members of the public. Do you support that review, and would you direct Superintendent Snelling to cooperate with that review?
Well, I think when it comes to the consent decree, there's no combination that this city has ever experienced between myself and the Superintendent Snelling that has been laser focused on making sure that we are in full compliance and we are moving with expediency to ensure that the consent decree is fully implemented. As far as the review of practices, those practices are always under review. So look, we appreciate the Attorney General weighing in, but in terms of how community policing is administered, and especially to ensure that we are building and maintaining trust within the community, we're constantly in review mode, in training mode to ensure that these interactions are positive. There is some reporting around the consent decree, and we can follow up with you, Heather, on this, is that the level of reporting as it relates to this consent decree has shifted. And so some of the reflection of the consent decree around this particular aspect is really centered around how the use of force definition is how use of force is defined, in other words.
Shifting gears a little bit to the budget, we learned in a budget hearing last week that the city has not gotten any responses for proposals to expand public advertising and the debt sale as ordered by the city council crafted budget. Are you concerned that as we enter the 5th month of the year that revenue won't materialize and we are quickly approaching a situation where there would be mid-year layoffs, as you suggested a few months ago?
I've always been concerned about the projections that they made. Look, the simplest way for us to be able to settle the budget was to administer a small tax on the largest corporations in the city of Chicago. We wouldn't be in this situation, had we gone that route. And I've expressed from the very beginning that the projections that were made were problematic. Look, we have worked hard to implement this budget. We'll continue to work with City Council to do just that. As far as what it's going to take to ensure that the people of Chicago do not have to experience harm, I'm hopeful that City Council will engage with my office again around ways in which we can progressively generate revenue without it being casted, upon speculation versus what could be made certain. And I'm going to continue to be open to those conversations. All right, thank you all very much. Appreciate your patience.
Give me the sign of the open eye, a riddle of shadows where whispers lie, the thorny thigh, the maddening cry. Open, open, open. open shades. Do as thou wilt, as a God can. The eagle strikes with his jagged claw. The beasts emerge as the gods withdraw. A storm of silence, a broken law. I am born to death, reborn on the heart. I under neon skies where the starlight comes. Shadows whisper truths as the bassline drums. The will is fire, unchained, untamed. No path is written, no soul is blamed. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Feel the stars, let the silence fill your will. On place, it's alive, it's still. Delivered from the lust of the thrill. Echo shattered glass where the circuits glow. The clock ticks slow, but it doesn't show. No purpose, no tether, just a beat in sync. Every way perfect, on the edge, on the brink. No chains, no bars, just a void to fill. Every pulse, every spark is a perfect will. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Feel the surge, let the silence fill your will. Unafraid, it's alive, it's still. Delivered from the lust of the thrill. In the endless dark where the echoes play, no other shall say nay, no other shall stay. Through the wires, through the smoke, let it all decay. No shadows chase, no voices come. The air is thick, it wraps me tight. No fear, no sin, no way to bear. The sweetness whispers everywhere. Sweetness of solitude fills my veins. Strong rivers wash my chains. No need for gold, no need for fame. This quiet place, it knows my The gift of health, it lights my way. Contentment blooms where I choose to stay. Trust is the bridge where hearts align. No fear, no sin, no way to bear. And the sweetness whispers everywhere. Sweetness of solitude fills my veins. Rivers wash my chains. No need for gold, no need for fame. This quiet place, it knows my name. No fire burned like passion wild. No losing through like hatred piled. This body aches, a cage of stone. Rest whispers soft, the only throne. Hunger's the beast, the sharpest sting. Body cries, its constant claim. But to truly see the weight, it sets us free. Pain looks close, a shadowed friend. Each step we take, it will attend. But joy lies quiet, just out of view. A higher peak, a sky so blue. Feel the weight, feel it break. No flame is fear, no chain is tight. This body's war, this endless fight. But higher still, beyond the fray, rest calls my name, and I let us live, let us breathe, free as air. No hate, no chains, no despair.